There's a saying in the world of money, everyone has a price. That's exactly what Nathaniel Cross used to tell himself, a man who'd built his fortune on mergers, acquisitions, and never trusting a soul more than the ink on a contract. But betrayal changes you. 3 months earlier, his closest friend, the guy who stood at his wedding and toasted to brotherhood, walked off with $5 million like it was pocket change. After that, Nathaniel believed every smile hid a knife, every handshake concealed a trick. So one rainy night in his glass-walled office overlooking the city, he set up a test. $10,000 spread across his desk bills like autumn leaves scattered by the wind. The safe door swung wide open. Hidden cameras watched every angle. And from the conference room next door, Nathaniel leaned forward over his laptop, whispering to himself, "Let's see what you're really made of." The targets of his little experiment. A cleaning woman named Rosa Delgado and her 7-year-old daughter, Marisol. Rosa had been assigned to his floor a month earlier. Quiet, efficient, invisible. Marisol was there because the after-school program shut down early and Rosa couldn't leave her kid alone. When the office door clicked open, the cameras caught Rosa pushing her cart in everything arranged like a soldier's gear, not a thing out of place. Marisol followed, small backpack bouncing, eyes wide. And then she froze. $10,000 in cash spread out right there like candy on Halloween. Nathaniel held his breath. He'd seen it 100 times. Temptation gnawed at even the strongest. People always reached. He waited for the small hands to grab, but Marisol didn't. She walked up, brow furrowed in concentration, and started stacking the bills neat, careful, like she was organizing crayons or building blocks. She even hummed a soft tune while she worked. And that's when Nathaniel nearly choked, because the melody was the same lullaby his late wife once sang during her pregnancy before a drunk driver ended both her life and their unborn child's. Hearing it from this little girl was like being hit with a wave of memories he'd spent 2 years drowning. In the video feed, Rosa whispered to her daughter, "Remember what I always say, work with honor, and honor works for you." "Yes," Mama Marisol replied without missing a beat, sliding another stack of bills into a tidy row. Nathaniel slammed his laptop shut and sat back stunned. He had expected greed, dishonesty, proof that he was right about the world. Instead, he saw a child treat money like a mess to clean up, not a prize to steal. For the first time in years, the fortress around his heart cracked. Over the next weeks, Nathaniel found excuses to linger at the office just to watch Rosa and Marisol. He saw the routine homework at 8 sharp, a simple meal from a battered thermos at 9, then Marisol curled up in the corner under her mother's jacket while Rosa worked into the night. No bitterness, no shortcuts, just steady love and sacrifice. But he also noticed the loneliness. Rosa would sometimes stop by the window, staring out at the city lights like they might answer her silent prayers. He learned through quiet digging that she'd grown up in foster care after losing her parents in a fire, aged out with nothing but grit, and was abandoned by the man who promised forever when she found herself pregnant at 19. And yet she carried no venom, no hatred, just resilience and a smile for her daughter. That's when the enemy appeared. Victoria Lang, vice president of finance, born into privilege and obsessed with power. She noticed Nathaniel's unusual attention toward Rosa. For someone like Victoria, kindness was a weakness to exploit. One evening, Nathaniel overheard sharp voices in the hall. He stepped quietly closer. "Do you think you deserve this job?" Victoria sneered, cornering Rosa near the supply closet. "Or those raises you've been getting? People like you only climb by being creative." Her eyes flicked toward Marisol with venom. "What would your daughter think if she knew how you really pay the bills?" Marisol's little hands clutched her mother's uniform. Rosa's fists tightened, but her voice held steady. "I work hard. I clean with pride. That's all I've ever done, and all I will ever do." Nathaniel stepped out of the shadows. Then his voice like steel. "Enough, Victoria." She spun, startled, but he didn't give her time to recover. "I heard every word, and I'll remember it." Victoria's smile faltered, but Nathaniel knew bullies never stop after one failed strike. He called an old friend, Detective Leah Park, an FBI investigator hardened by her own losses. "I need your help," he told her. "Someone's targeting people who can't fight back." Leah didn't hesitate. "Then let's give her a fight she'll never forget." Sure enough, Victoria escalated. One night, Rosa called Nathaniel, voice trembling. "They took her. Child services came with papers. They said I was unfit, that there were suspicious financial dealings with you. They took Marisol." Nathaniel's chest felt like it was caving in. He dressed, called in every favor, and sped to the precinct where Rosa sat alone on a plastic chair, mascara-streaked hands trembling around a cup of cold coffee. "I don't have anyone else," she whispered when she saw him. "You're the only one who knows I would never hurt my child." Nathaniel swore then and there, "We're getting her back. Tonight." With Leah's help, they uncovered the truth. Victoria had a history, 5 years of framing single mothers, mostly women of color, with fabricated reports and doctored files. She picked the vulnerable knowing no one would believe them, while her family money buried the evidence. Rosa was just the next target. But this time, the cameras were on her. Nathaniel and Leah caught Victoria offering Rosa a bribe in the parking lot, her words sharp and cruel. "Take this money and disappear with your bastard kid." The recording sealed her fate. A week later, Nathaniel called an emergency board meeting. Victoria walked in still wearing her perfect smile, but when she saw Leah step forward with a thick file, her face drained. "This isn't a misunderstanding," Nathaniel said, voice cold as winter. "This is a pattern of harassment targeting employees who deserved better." Victoria tried to laugh it off. "Are we really listening to sob stories now?" Leah pressed play. Victoria's own voice filled the room, dripping with malice. "How much to make you vanish? Take your kid and go." Silence fell like a hammer. Board members shifted in their seats. And then Nathaniel laid down the final card, evidence that years ago, Victoria's anonymous complaints had piled pressure on his pregnant wife's stress that led to complications before the accident stole them both. He slid the emails across the table. "You didn't just destroy careers. You destroyed families. You destroyed mine." Security escorted her out as she screamed about protecting her legacy. But Nathaniel's words followed her down the hall. A legacy built on cruelty always collapses. Rosa and Marisol were restored, mother and daughter clinging to each other, like survivors pulled from a wreck. That night, Marisol handed Nathaniel a drawing, 3 stick figures under a sun hands joined with the words, "Family is people who care for each other." He hadn't cried in years, but he did then. Later, Rosa stood in his kitchen teaching him her grandmother's recipe for arroz con pollo. Marisol laughed, clapping her hands when he got it right. For the first time since his wife's death, the house smelled like home again. 2 years passed. The Emily Cross Foundation, named after his late wife, funded scholarships for hundreds of children like Marisol. Rosa ran it with quiet grace, and Marisol, now older and confident, became its shining face. Nathaniel had found healing, and more than that, he'd found a new family. And Victoria. She lost it all. Shares forfeited, sentenced to prison for harassment and fraud, reduced to working retail after release. The woman who once sneered at others from her pedestal was left alone, haunted by choices she could never undo. But here's the question that lingers, the hook I want you to sit with. Was Nathaniel right to test Rosa in the first place? Was his cynicism justified after betrayal, or was it another form of cruelty, putting a mother and child under suspicion just to soothe his own wounds? I want to hear from you. Have you ever judged someone too quickly only to be proven wrong? Or maybe you've seen power used to crush the innocent. What did you do? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because stories like this aren't just about wealth and power. They're about us, about how we choose to see each other when no one's watching.